You are tuned into Box Story today, and my name is Rack Noble. Today, we have a very special guest with us, a world-ranked, world competitor, world champion, Amanda Serrano, the real deal. Amanda, talk to the people.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How you doing yourself? I see you're at the gym early.
Yes, I'm an early workout today. Today's Sunday, fun day.
Fun day in the gym. Well, you're getting ready for Daniela Bermuda. There ain't gonna be no fun days in that training camp. That's a serious fight.
Yes, never. I mean, I feel like I'm in good shape now. We had a good training camp, so when you feel this good, you have to enjoy it and consider it a fun training camp. But of course, training is never fun. But you know, I feel strong. I feel good. So I'm excited for this fight.
We're gonna get to Daniela Bermuda in a bit, but let's just talk about what's happened previously. So 2020, like we all know, was the year of the pandemic. A lot of boxers, their career got put on ice. You managed to get 2 fights in, which isn't too bad. And just before that, you had a very impressive win over Heather Hardy, 22-0, undefeated WBO champion. Tell me, how was that fight?
Well, that fight was great. You know, we know Heather was a tough champion. She's another Brooklynite like me. So we challenged her because I feel great at 126 featherweight. That's my natural weight. So I am the WBO super champion. So we challenged Heather for her fight and for her belt. We know she wasn't gonna back down. So yeah, that's how the fight came along.
Yeah, it was on paper, it was a magnificent fight. Of course, both you come into the fight, both Brooklyn natives, a good one for the hometown. Now that was a very tough fight in itself. That's one of the difficult fights you could have picked. Next, you're fighting an even tougher opposition in Daniela Bermuda, freeweight world champion. She's been in over 20 world championship title fights. A lot would say she's definitely in the top 8, possibly, of pound-for-pound women rankings, and you're taking her on. Tell us how this fight came about.
Yeah, no, actually, we had the opportunity to go to fight for Ring City, USA in Puerto Rico. We had another girl's name, and my trainer, Jordan, he said, you know what, if it's in Puerto Rico, it's on TV, we're all going to take a good fight. So Daniela Bermuda, someone from her camp had mentioned that they wanted to fight me. She wanted to become a 4th division world champion. So Jordan heard it, and he called Lou DeBella real quick and said, let's get that fight. And, you know, she took the fight. So that's how this fight's happening. It's a great one.
Yeah, it's a great fight. We got yourself a 7-time world champion versus a freeweight world champion. This is the elite crop of circles. These are the top 10 pound-for-pound fights. And these are definitely the fights that will edge women's boxing on. And I feel you're taking this fight. This fight hasn't been as widely publicized as it should be. This is a big fight. This is a massive
fight. No, it is. It's gonna be a great fight because, you know, she comes to fight, I come to fight. I don't back up, she don't back up. So it's gonna be an amazing fight. And I've seen her fight other great champions and beating them. So I just can't wait for that for March 25th.
March 25th. That's gonna be a big fight, and definitely the winner of that fight is definitely got a shout in for the even bigger fights to come down the line with the bigger names and the bigger networks. Talking of bigger names and bigger networks, so I've been following a story of yourself, the whole situation between yourself, Katie Taylor, Matchroom. You guys were meant to get it on the 22nd of August under the Dylan White Povetkin first fight for Matchroom. Tell me from
that wasn't the original date. So
it's been moved a few times for the pandemic.
Yes, exactly. The original date was in I believe it was May. Yeah, May. Was it May? I don't even know. It was so many dates, so many stories. But the whole thing was, I was ready. I was after my January fight in 2020 in Miami. I was ready. I was back in the gym a week later. I had hired a nutritionist. I was training. I had a training camp. I was sparring. I was in good shape early on in that training camp. And then, of course, the pandemic hit. And we didn't get no phone calls, anything. I learned the same way you guys learned that the fight was canceled through Twitter. And I felt a little disrespectful, you know. As a champion, as a fighter, we should be the first to know what's going on. And of course, my manager called Lou DeBella, and he didn't know what was going on. So then once again, we found out through Twitter that it had been postponed to another date. So we was like, okay, it wasn't that far along. So we kept in the gym, and we still was training and everything. And once again, through Twitter, we found out that the bout was like canceled indefinitely. And then all of a sudden, Eddie Hearn popped up with the August 22nd date. And, you know, we thought that it was going to be over until fans were able to go back into seats and stuff like that. Then they wanted a pay cut. And, you know, I wasn't truly happy with what I was getting at that point. But then they wanted to give me less. So we was like, you know, come on, you know, this fight's I've signed so many contracts. People don't understand. We signed so many contracts for this fight. Even before, I was even threatened. The fight with Heather Hardy wasn't even going to go through the day before the weigh-in. I had to sign the contract with a number I wasn't happy with to fight Katie Taylor. So people don't understand, you know, the backstories, the headaches that we have to go through outside of the ring. It's just, you know, it was just so much chaos between that fight. Of course, I want to fight Katie Taylor. She's a great champion. She's done a lot for women's boxing. And I believe I want to go in there with what I feel that I deserve. And as a respective 7th division world champion, I think I've done my job. I've left a legacy, and I want to be able to get paid what I deserve. So that's the whole backstory. But I honestly, I'm taking a page out of Eddie Hearn. I know I heard him say that, you know, women should reinvent themselves and market themselves better. So that's what I'm out here doing this year, hopefully becoming undisputed champion, so we can have that big fight with Katie Taylor, undisputed champion, 7th division world champion versus undisputed champion, 2 division world champion. So I think it sounds great.
You know, that would make a lot of sense, go from an undisputed title route to undisputed champions. But I would already feel that with yourself being a 7-weight world champion with 9 world titles, Katie Taylor being a 2-weight world champion, undisputed champion with 6 world titles, I thought you would have already been at that status, especially since you've been in the game some years on Katie Taylor. I would have thought you was already at that point where the fight already makes sense. We don't need to sell you. You're a 7-weight world champion, 9 belts. You have been in 12 world title fights. Katie Taylor's been in 11 world title fights. I don't know what more you would need to do to edge yourself away from Katie, but it really seems like you're already there.
I mean, to you and to other people, but according to Eddie Hearn, I'm not worth what I think I'm worth. So I gotta just keep trying and keep hustling and trying to make myself better.
Before you mentioned they offered you amounts for the contract which you weren't happy about at all. Coming on to that, the Clarissa Shields fight, the Clarissa Shields card on Friday, the Superwoman card. Clarissa's opened up a lot of gates for women. She's helping out with the pay. She's getting more recognition, more TV exposure. How do you feel towards that movement from Clarissa Shields? What do you have to say about that?
I mean, I love Clarissa Shields for what she did. You know, that was a big risk she took. You know, wasn't guaranteed she was going to make a certain amount of money, but I am super happy for her. And she definitely opened the doors for women to continue to be on pay-per-view fights. And I wish nothing but the best for her. I hope millions of people tuned in to watch her. And I just hope it just continues to open doors and break barriers for us. And, you know, it takes a strong woman like Clarissa Shields to know her worth and to go out and take a risk like that. And I just wish nothing but the best for her and for the future of female boxing.
A lot of people don't understand the limit, the low limit or the low amount of pain women are getting for fights. As a world champion, I understand you were still being offered ridiculously small amounts to defend and fight for your titles. Can you just give us some examples of how low you was being offered to pay?
As low, I've been paid $1,500 for Tuma Zarica. I don't know. She was a former WBC champion. Tough. I think where she's from. I'm not sure where she's from, but she was a tough girl. I fought her twice for $1,500 back to back. That was the lowest. And I mean, you will be surprised what I'm making now. But you know, for the Daniela fight, and everyone says it's a good fight, and it's 2 top, you know, pound for pound top 10, and people will be like, you know, I love the sport of boxing. You know, I want to continue to leave my name in the sport of boxing, leave a legacy, so that, you know, there's definitely sacrifices we have to make, and I've done that. I've done it for the love of the sport. You know, now it's time to make money. This fight, I know it's just, I understand with everything that's going on with the pandemic and not, you know, people are not getting paid much. So I took this fight for whatever they're giving me. I know it's a tough fight, but I want to give a great show, especially in my island of Puerto Rico, to showcase women fight on NBC Sports. So I'm super excited. But yeah, we're way underpaid.
I can believe that. I said, girls like Carissa are fighting for the rights, fighting for exposure, fighting for the coverage, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
It's most of it. I mean, because, you know, Katie Taylor, she's getting paid well. There's certain girls out there that are getting paid. I've never heard her complaining about what she gets paid.
No, she's good. She's getting paid. She's good over there.
Yeah, I know.
So you mentioned, of course, going down the undisputed route. You already are the WBC and WBO featherweight champion. What are your goals next? What will be next? The WBA IBF?
Of course, definitely. That was definitely my goal for this fight. We wanted to unify with Jelena for the WBC and WBA, but of course, negotiations went sour, and then I ended up becoming full WBC champion. Now she still has a WBA, but she has a fight coming up soon against a Mexican fighter, another tough Mexican fighter. So the winner of that fight, we definitely want to go after the WBA, and then we have the IBF champion. So after this fight, once I get through Bermuda, then we're back at the table and offering. Well, of course, we have to see what happens between the Jelena fight, and then offering these girls some offers.
So Sarah and Jelena are both the WBA and IBF featherweight champions. You'll be looking to, by the end of the year, pick fights of both of them, unify the division, and then go for the big one against Katie Taylor at lightweight.
That'll definitely be my dream, but you know, it is what it is. You have to continue to work and see what happens. And even the IBO is not needed to become undisputed champion, but if she wants, she can jump in the mix too.
There's a lot of belts going around. There's a lot of females looking for the titles, but there doesn't seem to be enough money to pump everyone to continuously going on. Let's say you are a 7-weight world champion. That's history in itself. Not a man or woman has done that. I definitely feel you deserve a lot more recognition for that achievement going onwards. And due to that, I saw you went on to MMA. You did a bit of a cage fighting, just on the crossover. Do you have any more MMA fights lined up? Are you looking to pursue that anymore?
Well, I don't have anything lined up now because I have these goals of becoming undisputed champion. But, you know, I am a female fighter, so I'm a two-sport athlete. So whichever comes first, whichever offer is better, you know, I have to take it. But right now I'm concentrating on becoming undisputed champion. But like I said, if it comes, it comes.
Undisputed right now. Okay, undisputed champion right now. That's the goal. So MMA is putting aside. I also saw as well you was training for WWE. You was trying to become a superstar wrestler.
Yeah, I'm trying to put my feet in everything, you know, because I am a female, so we have to make money somehow. I'm trying to see what's gonna stick and what's gonna make me lots of money. But no, yeah, I actually got into it because of my nephew. He used to watch it every week, and I would sit down and watch it with him, and I was entertained. And then we also have a good friend, Amazing Red, who has his own school in my neighborhood, and I used to train with him. I used to go to his shows and House of Glory Wrestling, and it's pretty amazing. And I started training with him, and it's intense, but I love the aspect of competing and trying something new. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, you do everything. You box, you MMA, you wrestle, like, yeah, a full all-round fighter.
Yes, yeah, I'm trying. I like the whole combat sports.
Yeah, that's nothing.
One thing of sports, I can tell you really love the sports because you've gone down many hard paths, you've gone down many hard routes, and one of the hard routes that we all know in boxing is the weight cut. Now, between two fights, specifically, September 2018 and January 2019, that's 4 months. In that 4 months, you competed at super lightweight, 140 pounds, and then 4 months later, you was competing at super flyweight, 115 pounds. You cut 25 pounds in the space of 4 months.
Yeah.
How? Tell me how. What is your secret?
You know what's funny? After all these years and months that passed on these fights, you're probably the only person who even asked that. I even asked if I was okay doing it. But yeah, 140 is a big weight. I'm not. I think was probably harder for me to make a heavier weight than a lighter weight, because after every workout, because when I train really hard, I lose weight really fast. So after every workout, I had to like stuff my face with food so I can maintain that weight. And it's funny because after the weigh-in, I weighed in at 138, and I had tights on. And after the weigh-in, I told Jordan, I said, listen, I don't feel good at this weight. We need to go to the gym. So I went to the gym, and I had a nice like 3-mile run. I had to drop down. So when I walked into the ring for that fight, I was actually 134 because I didn't like the way I felt at 138. I mean, like 140. And the girl, she's a big girl, and she's usually fights at a bigger weight. But then, like I said, to me, it's easier for me to drop the weight. And at that time, I had my MMA coaches with me, and they were helping me with my weight cut. At the time, my MMA coach, he was cooking for me, and I became vegan for like a week and a half to drop down, and that had to be like the easiest weight cut I ever had at 115. So surprisingly, but I won't do it again.
Yeah, especially so. Of course, fighters over the period of time may drop weight, but you did this between one fight, 4 months time, 5. That's 6 weight classes. That's 6 weight classes.
I know. Yeah, Jordan always says like if someone does break my record, it won't be in the crazy way that we did it, because usually it goes from down up, but we went all over the place.
Yeah, because most people's career, they'll maybe start at super flyweight, and by the time they come to the end, they're at super lightweight or welterweight. They'll gradually grow into that weight. But you started at feather, you went up to light welterweight, you came back down to super flyweight. You've been up and down, so you definitely got a good team around you to be able to maintain and manage that.
Yeah, no, like I said before, we're female boxing, so we have to go where the opportunities are, and so wherever the fights are at.
So of course we've touched on Matchroom, but I just want to talk in specifically the fight between you and Katie Taylor. As you guys mentioned, that would be the Super Bowl of women's boxing. You've got the new girl on the scene who's came through, cleared out everything, undisputed. We've got yourself, who's been walking up and down the division before she even came into the picture. I don't feel Katie Taylor can be ranked above you until she beats you. The new fighter has the honors to beat the previous fighter to take their crown away from them. What do you have to say towards Katie Taylor and Eddie Hearn and Matchroom about getting this fight done down the line?
Well, I really want this fight. People say what they want to say. They critique and say, no, I want this fight, but I want this fight for, I believe what I deserve. Like you said before, I am a 7 division world champion. My goal is to become undisputed champion, and maybe I'll be worth more, but I definitely want this fight. And hats off to Katie Taylor. She's done a great thing for female boxing. She's because of her and Eddie Hearn, people know who she is, and people actually know that there is female boxing. So other networks decided to put female boxing on their shows. So she's definitely helped a lot in the sport of female boxing. But I am the fighter that's been here longer, but I am younger, and I feel I'm 32 years old. I feel like I'm in my prime. I feel strong. I feel good. I'm excited, and I definitely want this fight. And we're gonna do whatever we have to do to get this fight done.
Whatever it takes. Like I said, this fight's been spoken about for a while now. I've heard about this fight since about 2018. I thought it was gonna happen. We all thought it was gonna happen, but of course, we never know what's quite behind the scenes. All I have to do is keep winning, looking good winning, and all Katie has to do is continue to win and look good winning. And this fight, everybody's gonna want to see this fight no matter what. Of course, in this day and age, women, we're in a bit of a boom. A lot of names are coming through the mix. A lot of fighters are developing and doing great things. I feel you both need each other on each other's resume to complete your careers. If you have a win over Katie Taylor in your career, it highlights your career. If she has a win over yourself, Amanda Serrano, it highlights her career. It's a fight that we'll look back on in time and say, how did these two dominant fighters of the division never come across each other. It's a fight that definitely thought needs to happen, and it definitely is one of those big, high-profile fights. Of course, we had Clarissa versus Declare on Friday. It was a big fight, but we didn't know who really Declare was. She had won one weight championship. The name wasn't as credible, but yourself versus Katie, look in the history books, your names are going back quite a bit of time now. There's quite a lot of accomplishments, so I definitely feel it's a fight that the magnitude of it in itself will attract people towards it.
Yeah, no, I believe so, and I'm hoping that, you know, Eddie is and Matchroom, that they're seeing what we're trying to do to elevate our resume, to elevate the game of female boxing. So hopefully, you know, people are gonna ask for this fight no matter what. So, you know, I just, you know, I want to get, you know, Katie's getting talks about getting $1 million. I'm not asking for half of that. I'm asking for like a 80-20, 60-40 fight. You know, it is a 50-50 fight, but I want to get paid at least 60-40. 60 on Katie and 40 for me. So
you mentioned that they offered you 80-20.
No, yeah, yes, yeah. It was about that. She was getting, the first offer was that I had to sign. The first offer that I signed, that I was threatened that the Heather Hardy fight was gonna be off, was 150. So that's the fight that we agreed to. But then after I fought in Miami, they said would if the fight was in Manchester, would we take more money if the fight was in Manchester? So we said, okay, whatever. It's the same girl, same, you know, the same outcome, whatever it is, we'll go. So then that's when the money went up. It went up a little more, but you know, it's still not, because people don't understand the breakdown. You know, in Manchester, off the back, they take off like 25,000 off my pay, off my check. Then we're fighting for 4 belts. Each organization takes 3% of that, so they're already taking 12% off of my my check. And then I also have a team. You know, I gotta give my percentages away. So for the biggest fight of my career, I end up coming home with 100,000 maybe, and I had to pay tax here in the States. And then I'm living in New York. What am I gonna do after Katie Taylor? What's gonna happen? Look, and even the Ruiz and Joshua, the rematch, who ended up making more money? Even though Andy Ruiz was the champion, Joshua ended up making more money anyway. So it's like, it's, you know, for the biggest fight of my career, I should at least see something, a reflection of that.
No, when you put it like that, yeah, it definitely makes sense. You know, of course, there's fees, there's travel expenses, there's board fees, commissions. And that's just within boxing. And when you come back home, you gotta pay taxes. And you live in New York, one of the most expensive cities in the world. So that 100,000 go real quick. It can go.
And then I have no kids, so I have no dependents, so I can't count that off in taxes. So I end up getting screwed. And I wouldn't, you know, I want to have something that I can say, like, I want to buy a home, I want to buy a house, and I want to be able to say, listen, this is what I got from boxing. And you know, I want to be able to see that in the future.
It's definitely understandable for someone like yourself who's put so much work and so much time into boxing, who's created so much of a legacy behind it.
So much sacrifice, so much sacrifice that I've made in the sport, and I want to be able to, you know, once I'm retired, I want to be able to say, you know, even though I am going to say no matter what, that thanks to boxing, you know, I've been to places I dreamt of, I met people I idolized. So, you know, boxing definitely helped me a lot. But you know, you definitely want to be able to see something else.
You definitely want to be able to walk away with it and say, this has been worthwhile my time, and I can now live off this for my days coming on forward. Especially for someone, like I said, who's left such a distinctive legacy behind. 7-weight world champion, not been done before. Don't think he'll be done for a while. And yeah, you definitely deserve your dues for that. So I'm hoping that this all comes off. I'm hoping the fight of you and Katie happens.
Yeah, I hope so too.
When it happens, it's not during lockdown. I'll be down there, Team Serrano.
Thank you.
For the world title. But yeah, first step, like I said, we're not going to look past it. 27th of March, Daniela Bermuda. Very tough competitor. We'll see how things go after that.
Yes. And I want to thank you so much for supporting me, supporting, you know, female boxing and all the great nice, kind words you say about me. I really appreciate it. Now it just makes me work harder and to go out there and continue to look good and fight hard.
No problem for that. Don't prove me wrong. I've been throwing your name around there. I've been telling everyone Serrano, she's one of the most underrated lightweights. Yo, I think she'll beat Katie Taylor. Don't make me.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. I really do.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for your time. We're gonna wrap up here. This is Box Story. My name is Rack Noble. This is Amanda Serrano, 7-weight world champion, 9-time world champion. All the best to her fight on the 25th. Amanda, take care.
Thank you so much.